Yeah, so Mike, then you were saying earlier, then let's get this down, because not a lot of people have heard that story. Do you reckon then that it was Tom Bearden? He was Air Force, wasn't he? Tom Bearden, I think, wasn't he? He did Air Force stuff.
Lieutenant Colonel in the Army.
Oh, that's right. He's Lieutenant Colonel in the Army. That's right. And then so he turned the whole of the sewage system for
water system, yeah.
For Los Angeles County. This must be what it when the time that Chernobyl went bang, right? So what happened then? So he basically tapped back the woodpecker signal.
Yeah, right. Now okay. First of all, we were talking about weather modification.
That's right. Yeah.
The Russians were doing it. I don't know, a long time ago in the 70s, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
With microwave radars.
Yeah.
And they would have the microwave radars signals go out and intersect in space in such a way that they created a scalar wave.
Right.
Okay, so they phase conjugate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they use that. That was the woodpecker signal was what those scalar waves did to all receivers.
Basically, square waves is a scalar wave. Is what for the layman.
It can be square or sinusoidal.
Right.
You know.
Phase conjugation. Yeah.
Yeah, right. As long as it's phase conjugation.
That's the key to knowing.
Square, spike, whatever. The Russians then got the idea to pump a 4 hertz standing scalar wave into the San Andreas Fault. Now, 4 hertz is deadly. Anyway, especially 2 hertz are really deadly. But that's what they use the sound weapon. The sound weapons they used to make were just plain vibrations. It wasn't 2D. This is 2D.
Yeah.
Okay, when you go into a scalar wave, that's 2D. But any waveform is 3D. So Bearden and Bedini caught them pumping that 4 hertz standing scalar wave into the San Andreas Fault of California. So they hooked up transmitters to the sewer system and the water system of Los Angeles County. So you're talking about, I don't know how many square miles, at least 20, 30 square miles, and that waveform, that scalar waveform, this kind of a waveform, went up and connected with the other waveform, which acted like a wire, and took it right back to the microwave transmitter near Chernobyl, and it melted down the transmitter, and the following day Chernobyl melted down.
Whoops!
Whoops!
Whoops! Apocalypse. Yes.
And so, but that was a good thing, because it taught both the Americans and the Russians we can't use scalar weapons, because the most unstable matter is uranium. And if you hit it with a scalar wave, it's going to melt. It's going to, you're going to depopulate the planet like that if we start a scalar weapon war. And they were all ready to do that.
Really?
And that brought it right to a halt. So Bearden and Bedini saved the planet.
Wow.
In that one.
Wow. That's a wrap.
Yeah.
So
and that lady that came and sat with me, there, we were talking.
Yeah.
Her father used to say the same thing.
Really?
Every single person on this planet has access to the past, present, and future of everything in this multiverse.
Wow.
All the time. Which is the problem. It's all knowing.
All knowing, yeah. So we kind of create this skid mark we call reality, with a bunch of kind of suffering, loose, and idiocy, and essentially badness, as they say, in order that we can have karma to stay here. Good karma and bad karma.
Well, it beats the shit out of all knowing.
Yeah. Who wants to be omniscient? I do.
Not for very long.
Omniscient, yeah, not for very long. Shit. So all-knowing then, Mike, you're saying is basically something that is stopped by the spoken word, correct?
Correct.
And so how does that impact everything?
Turns us into idiots.
So that's why you are the founder of the IUC, right?
Right, yeah.
And tell us about the IUC, actually. Just
Idiots United Church.
Idiots United Church.
Because every human on this planet is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I agree.
And they need help.
Yeah.
They need some adult supervision.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Well, so we're going to turn ourselves into kids.
That's good, man. That's good. And also the $50 million a minute to run U.S. military that's invaded 70 sovereign nations since the end of World War II. Those guys have got to be turned into kids too, right? Yep. And that's what we're doing today, right? We're doing bubble tech today, right? So you're saying that now everybody has to start doing bubble tech. Every military personnel on the planet.
They got no choice.
They got no choice. It's illegal not to do it.
It's absolutely illegal.
It's
not to do.
absolutely illegal not to do it. So we're going to do it down in the dumbs, of which there are, what, 12,000 dumbs worldwide? Deep
Who
underground?
knows? Yeah, they should do it in the dumbs. We can cleanse the dumbs from up here.
Okay.
Because the organic energy is infinite.
Or, no, not organic. So that's ORGAMIC.
ANMIC, organ.
Organ, yeah.
MIC.
MIC. And you invented this, what, a few months ago, right?
No, a couple, 3 years ago.
A couple, 3 years ago, yeah.
Because the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission, was cracking down on orgone, saying that it creates radiation. When the opposite is true, it eats radiation.
So to get around the AI filters, you invented a new word.
Yeah, well, you're right. Correct.
Right. So now, how is that? That's smart. So how can you be the founder of the Idiots United Church and be smart at the same time? Surely that's being an idiot, isn't it?
Yeah,
right. Okay. Wow.
Being an idiot's not required; it's compulsory.
Right. So now back to all knowing, right? So all knowing. So your physics is such that people go, they hear your physics and they kind of, like, I've been listening to your teachings, reading your teachings for a long time now, your writings, as does the Donald, apparently, and and so basically, so how would you say it then? It's all knowing, omniscience, which would be the
all knowing is the root reason for the shit show that we have here,
right?
Because all knowing is painfully boring.
Yes.
And we escape from the multiverse of continuous orgasms with crescendo because it was boring, no creativity. Okay, so you put some suffering on some fucking idiots, you're gonna have some creativity.
I get it.
And the root way that that's accomplished throughout the solar system is with the spoken word, and the spoken word requires lineal time.
Yeah.
And the syntax of our mother tongue is coded into our DNA, which our DNA, via the causery of cylindrical mirrors, connects us to not only our past, present, and future, but the past, present, future of everything, which is how Nostradamus saw the future of the planet.
The Akashic records. Right.
The Akashic records of everything are available to you in these cylindrical mirrors. And in Nostradamus, his was egg-shaped.
Yes.
And then silvered, like a silvered mirror on the inside.
As is the absolutely enormous amounts of energy in 1 cubic centimeter of anywhere.
Well, yeah, it's a little bit strange sitting in there, yeah.
So 2D and 3D, explain that. So how would in your use of it?
It's like life and death. It's very abrupt.
Right.
3D is anything that requires a toroid or a vibration.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because the toroid comes into 3D, where you have the right angle, phase angle.
Yeah. This is a phase conjugation, so it's where the
electric and magnetic components. When you go into phase conjugation, you wind up with a wave like this. The electric and magnetic components are no longer like that. Okay, they're parallel to one another with a gap in between, and in the gap you got everything.
Wow, that's interesting. That's what you would call ultimately tantra done right. White tantra is that moving when masculine and feminine polarities are able to create a physics that is self-powered.
Yeah, well, there's no polarity.
No polarity. That's why you can fly through the air in union with your consort in ancient Tibet.
In union with the ethers.
Yeah. Both
levitation and all that is coming in harmony with the ethers and getting rid of the 3D, bullshit. Which is like Lao Tzu said, that the city is the home of 10,000 ideas. You don't need those. That's bullshit. All of which are bullshit, by the way.
That's right. It's the balance points between ideas on the one hand and facts on the other, and it's going down the middle. That's the hardest thing, it seems.
No, it's really easy. 2D to 3D is very abrupt. Okay. 3D is everything with a toroid, a vibration.
Yeah.
Okay. 2D is just images. And it's no polarity, right? And so since there's no polarity, then you got the electric and magnetic component parallel to one another. And
the gap.
With the gap in between.
Which is the capacitance field.
Yeah.
Capacitance field.
It's a capacitance field.
So the bubble tech works by having a triple cone, as it's called, because you start with a pine cone, which is fractal in nature.
The bubble tech works via capacitance, just like you started to say.
Right.
And the thing that you want to do with these capacitance fields is number one, connect up with the ethers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's how, when we install an image into the ethers, it repeats. The ethers are an analog amplifier. Okay. You know how analog amplifier works?
Yep.
Got two capacitance plate and you got a grid in the middle.
Yep.
The grid is where you input the information, and then as the, from the NP transfer, you got N negative.
Yeah.
Okay. As it transfers across any capacitance field, it automatically does the calculus function of integration, which solves for the area underneath the curve of that waveform. Okay. And when it doubles the waveform, doubles the amplitude.
Yeah.
When you double the amplitude, then it's x, x equal 2 sine y. Okay. So they're integral 2 sine y, and then so you got to take the 2 out from behind the integral. You have to square it to do that. So you wind up with a wave 4 times as more powerful. That is why an analog amplifier works, and that the entire frickin' multiverse is that. Everything is that, because you got layers, and so, when we get into goodness, all of this is going to amplify throughout the multiverse. Okay?
Yes, it's very abrupt.
Yeah, right.
Boom.
It'll be very abrupt, and quantum leaps.
Wow.
Whereas our Lewis production has kept the entire multiverse in bullshit and brain damage for forever, for the entire length of this multiverse, because this multiverse started with judgment. The old bitch, when the first Anu formed in the ethers, she went, "What is it?" Which is judgment, and in Pandora's box, it all starts with her. Everything boils back down to her. All of our karma. It's not our karma. It's her fucking karma. She's the one that started with the loneliness and the fear, and then love, and she put all that shit on us.
Sophia.
Yeah,
Sophia,
the old bitch.
The old bitch, yeah. So the Sophianic myths, which come out of what is now around 6,000 years ago, according to John Lash, all his American stuff that he's got going on. Would you buy into that? So that the idea is that there was a huge star near the centre of the galaxy that incarnated as a physical rock in the form of our planet. That's what you're talking about, right? So it's our planet's karma, of which we are a part.
Yeah, of course, you're here, aren't you?
You're here. That's it. Yeah. So Worldwide War 3, number 3, is that cancelled instantly with bubble tech, right? Now, how is that? So how is that? So I want to get my thinking mind, as we all do.
Well, for example,
why is it bubble tech so important? Why?
Well, for example, we're going to clean every drop of water on this planet because the water molecules are organic.
Right.
They have a capacitance field around each water molecule.
Yeah.
And Dr. Gerald Pollack found that, the fourth or the fifth, phase of water.
Yep.
Okay. And I got pictures of it.
Yeah.
They don't call it what it is. But you fucking idiots, you got charge separation around the water molecule. How do you do that? Answer, with a capacitance field in it. You got positive and negative charge separation. Okay, what's in between? A gap. There has to be a gap.
Yeah. So I've seen the bubble tech work. So you set up 3 triple cones in what you call Merlin's chamber, and then there's some form of fractality arrives
let me finish with. We're going to clean every drop of water on the planet because the water is organic, so it's easy to do. Water talks to water, like they say. Yep. Water has a memory. That's where it comes from.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we'll do is we'll put big organic pieces in the water in the currents, and we'll make all the water go organic. And we'll keep doing this until this will happen. The water will go peaceful. There will no longer be waves nor tides, because both of those impart fucking violence to the water, you fucking idiots.
Oh, yeah. No waves nor tide, right? Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so the water will go like a lake.
Yeah.
All of the oceans will be like a lake. It'll be clean from top to bottom. And life will explode. And very shortly after that, as well as life will explode, but then also predation will stop. That nobody will be eating anything. You don't need to, especially in water. You're living in a field of life force energy. And you can't get away from it. That's your environment. Is 2D life force energy that makes everything work better.
Amazing.
Okay, and so shortly after that happens with water, it'll happen on land, and we'll have a bunch of happy idiots.
And then we'll have won.
Yeah, and us, humans don't lose our job. We're still idiots.
Yeah, we're chief idiots here on deck. Yeah, chief idiot on deck.
And the sole reason for this planet is entertainment, taking people away from all knowing. Okay,
all knowing. Yeah,
it's just that the entertainment's got a little bit sick.
Yeah,
Like new and more creative ways to kill off the human puppets.
Yeah,
which we've done.
Yeah,
in innumerable ways.
In a word, Hollywood.
Yeah, right. Well, then the dumbs, and what they've been doing, and
Yeah, we all know about the dumbs now. I think we're all getting the the A word, the adrenochrome word. That's that's now that's gone on mainstream. That's horrific. That's so all of that's
especially when you know there's 8 million humans a year that they go through to produce. It's a massive industry.
Is it 8 million people are adrenochrome
worldwide,
per year?
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Turned into adrenochrome.
8 million, because I know that there was a bypass planned for my hometown, which is Durham, and they would have emptied the British Isles onto the train.
Let's go. We're late already.
Off to Wuhan for adrenochrome rendering. Lovely. So here we've got. You see those? Look there. Contrails as opposed to chemtrails. For some reason, it's a chemtrail-free sky. So this is the legendary bubble tech then, Mike. And you've got 3 in the corners. And it feels, how does it feel in there?
Getting more and more euphoric, like what we expected. Oh, especially this one's been set up overnight, so it's powered up right away. Just get a chair and sit in here with me.
Well, I'm sort of standing in here. It's amazing.
Don't have your phone in here.
No.
Don't bring your phone in here. Oh, let me do an intention. Yeah.
So the idea is we're going to have blood dark field microscopy done on people before and after sitting on the chair, people who've had the vaccination.
In the Merlin chamber, yeah.
That's the ether. Now the ether is the stuff that's left in a vacuum when you take all the air out. Putting it crudely, the ether is part of the fundamental fabric of the universe or space-time, and it has been highly sort of dismissed and shunned because it's what the physicists and scientists felt, well, what have we got here? We just call it the ether. Now the point about it is that using subtle cones and geometric shapes inside it, I think an ore carrier, as you went across the Pacific, Trevor James Constable made a wonderful video all about this, on how simply rotating these cones in the ship, he was able to completely change the weather front ahead of the ship, using the motion of the ship going through the Earth, which is a sphere. And this part of the subtle science, which is a bit touchy-feely, but it works. And one of the second people who'll be here tomorrow is a guy called Harry Rhodes. That's Harry of the Ether. And he's developed an awful lot of the Wilhelmite technology, made it into practical, technical, electrical engineering, nuts and bolts stuff which do things, such as send an EMP into your system to shut down the graphene hydroxide stuff.
That's the purpose of this technology, is to deal with that, to eliminate the tiny magnet that is the graphene oxide, very tiny magnet. It cannot survive the non-polar field of very long. So anybody that's been back sits in these chambers for 15 minutes, you're not going to be back very long.
Okay, so this is a very important term. There's certain terms that we use in this kind of science. It's called scalar and longitudinal waves. And this kind of technologies, the use of electrical power. For instance, when they turned on the generators at Niagara Falls, the electric impulse that came up the wires before the current followed it was so high it arced. This huge amount of energy was available, which we continually destroy every time we make a conventional electrical generating turbine system. So we're continually creating the electric field, and then we are continually destroying it. And then you have to put more power and more energy into it, because the fundamental equations of electrical power generation were gerrymandered, they were altered, they were messed around with, so that the petrochemical industry under J.P. Morgan and all those guys at the end of the 1800s was able to manufacture a profit motive into making sure etheric and other types of engineering and energy systems were suppressed at considerable penalties to some of the people involved. This involves the petrochemical industry, which produces all the drugs, which keeps you unhealthy, which keeps you needing more drugs, which means they make more money. And we're in this scam and continuing to be in this scam. And this goes back, right back to why they burned witches. And this part of the world is well known for that. There's a lot of people here that dipped in the dipping pools, you did those shallow pools. And of course, if you survived, you were a witch. If you didn't, well, God is helping yourself. So this is very, very crucial to what the fundamentals are and what we're fighting and what's involved with this new science, which is basically re-emerging.
So you were saying earlier then, Mike, the triangular, the face of this triangle, this face here.
Yeah, the face of the triangle, in between the equilateral triangle.
It basically keeps the 3D out.
Yeah,
and
right.
So it maintains 2D, which is non-polar capacitance.
It basically provides a container that attracts chaotic energy, euphoric chaotic energy, amazingly, from the pentagonal ethers, which are euphoric and chaotic now. And they're also the color purple. Light purple to light gray. Dark purple to light gray within the boundary layer, within the five-sided boundary layer. This is the root of 5D, what the fluffheads talk about. They don't know. There is no 5 dimensions. There is, however, five-sided pentagonal ethers.
So they're getting confused, or they don't understand it. It's New Age speak that's basically
nonsense. It's complete nonsense.
It's cleared the pitch.
Yeah.
So when people talk about 5D and 4D, most other people,
they have no idea what they're talking about.
But the vast majority of people go, these are loony fringe, conspiracy theorist wielding New Age crackpots, right?
Yeah, right.
But that's not what you're talking about. So
I'm talking about real
physics.
The dimension is a straight line along which you can measure.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's no 5D.
No.
And 4D, yes, because you got time. It's a straight line along which you can measure. And that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. But 5D, no, or 6D, or any of the other stuff that they talk about,
no,
inane.
But when you talk about 5D in terms of the structure of the ether,
it's a pentagonal ether.
A pentagonal ether.
Yeah, which you have to have in between the four-sided ethers and the hexagonal ethers.
Yeah.
You must have a pentagonal ether as the boundary layer. And then it goes to the six-sided ethers and then to the seven-sided ethers, which is a boundary layer between the 7 and 8-sided ethers. And then the same thing with 9, to 10, and then 11 is another, and they're all chaotic, okay? Because it's all a mirror image. It's just a massive ball of mirrors, And then, so what we're doing is we're tapping into the root hall of mirrors, the root energy of creation in these things, which is chaotic. In this case, euphoric and chaotic, without love and without fear.
Yeah.
Okay?
Neutral.
It's neutrally euphoric, like little kids.
It's basically the cosmos.
Yeah.
Complementarity 1.0 is what I would call it. Complementarity 1.0 is the operating system of the entire cosmos. What people call love, but the word love means different things to different people in different contexts, and it's basically
humans use it as a currency. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
And
well, you can't say that. What about the romance?
Guess what?
You can't say that.
Guess what?
You got half the planet going, no, that's not right. We need romance.
Have been made out of love for forever. Okay?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And it's all just consciousness, and we're controlling it.
Yeah.
If a full-on loving environment actually fucking worked, we'd be in it now, wouldn't we?
Well, we would hope we would be, yeah. But we didn't figure this out yet. So this is what's going to arrive the planet into bliss emptiness state, Mahasukha, yeah?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
we've seen it. Have you seen it?
Infinite creation.
Infinite creation. We've got chemtrails out there.
Everywhere.
We've got chemtrails over Swindon and over the M4 going to London.
But none of them are here.
None of them above here. I've been watching it all day. And we saw it this morning, did we not? We saw
I
it
told you.
Yeah.
And that's because of this, right?
That's because of this right here. Which seems like, how can just a bunch of because what it is just concrete and some steel. I mean, those take 2 weeks to make. Right?
Most important Merlin chamber we're going to make is the one with those concrete blocks. Because anybody can do it.
Right, I get it.
I mean, you talk about a no-brainer. I mean, if they can't do
But you need a violet one, which is £30 off eBay.
Right, yeah, you need a violet one.
Or 3, so ideally you need 3 violet ones. Or you can wire it up.
We can fire up all 3 of these with one violet one.
Oh, you can, and do it all. Great.
Good morning.
Fantastic.
Good morning.
Yes, you've been making them in Bristol.
We've been making bubbles.
Did I wake
Bristol.
up next to you?
Are they brought from Bristol?
Not in this lifetime.
So you
Maybe the next.
you saw the free, the chemtrail-free space, right?
We did.
Driving
absolutely.
from Bristol to Pewsey.
Well, yeah, but
wow.
But also, what you could see was the real clouds.
Yeah.
Kind of butting up against the
bubble.
chemtrail stuff.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Amazing, right? No, because I've just driven from Swindon, which is north of the M4, and that is just incredible. Yeah,
Yes,
take a seat.
Have a seat.
That's the hot seat. Only Sir Percival can sit in that seat.
Only Percival. It's Percival.
Yeah,
That's actually it's actually me.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Well, I'm going to
Pearson
turn my
Vale.
phone off because I don't want to.
You don't want to die.
No, I don't want to mess with it.
You don't want to mess with it.
Yeah, keep your phone out of there.
Well, I'm going to turn it off. Or
Don't take it in there.
So yeah, you got to be Sir Percival sitting on the hot seat with an intent.
I don't know. You tell us.
And my intent is.
We're on the hunt for vaxxed people because this de-vaxxes the vaxxed.
Actually, that's a contrail.
No, it's not a contrail. That's a chemtrail.
Letting
Contrails only last
part of that
very short.
allowing process.
That's trying to lay a chemtrail.
I mean, I only really went through that allowing process.
No, we saw this yesterday, the same thing. And yesterday I went to Swindon, and Swindon's kind of over there, and it's just all, chemtraily, and over here was a bubble.
That was an ego death for me. Because I just went, you know what, let it be.
So that's definitely one, yeah.
Well, they're really hammering it. Yesterday, I was driving back and it's like, oh, it's a beautiful day. And then I went in the house for an hour and I came back out and they were all out. I was like, you
I know,
bastard.
Yeah. And so all the animals ovulate during the full moon. Okay. And so do the idiots.
yeah.